To let everyone know why the creation of the noisy chair happened, well, people wanted to share their story, concerns, and being loud. Well, I'm here to listen, have an opinion, and talk to people. That's what this is all about. My name is Dave, aka DJDave. Love being part of a new journey with amazing people on my podcast. Hey, welcome. This is super exciting. Welcome to the Noisy Chair Podcast, Season 2. And this is episode 201. I'm your host and DJ, DJDave, and tonight it is just me you'll be hearing from, and I'll be consistent with my format with some exceptions, So, no guest tonight. I wanted to say huge thanks to all the listeners, supporters, sponsors, my family and friends for their support. It truly means a lot. Seriously, and I couldn't do this without you all. And I appreciate the people who listen in and comment, good or bad. I'm like, fuck, I don't care. I mean, if it's bad, it's at least they're listening and they made the comment, so which is great. So more positive, negative, which is fantastic. I wanted to talk more about the positive side of things in the current events and with me, what's going on. But there's so much negativity involved in hatred and war, and just our whole controlling aspect of what's going on out there, and just like a mind fuck of what's happening. And it's really upsetting me, because I like to, I'm positive. Most people who know me, I'm positive. Yes, I could be known as Angry Dave, but that's in a good way. So that's amongst friends, but now you know. So if I hear, hey, Angry Dave, then I know it's who it is. So, when I first started this podcast journey, I wanted to blend in my love for wines and house music. Hence the name, when I first started, House Uncorked. Thanks to Jim Ben, by the way, for coming up with that name. I just wanted to sit down and drink, and just drink great wines and not so great wines, and talk to people about what's on their minds and what business they're in. So it really took off quite well. The unfortunate part is, when COVID hit, it grossly shut down cities. It forced me to pivot my podcasts to live streaming for music. So it was, being a DJ, but not truly affected by the pandemic. I love playing for people, so I focused my efforts in helping other DJs live stream. I built a studio, as you can see here. I got prints in the background. I got some drinks that I will not be tackling today, because it will be a show that might be more of a gong show than anything. So, like I said, I focus more of my efforts on helping other DJs live stream, help them build a base on just on what equipment to use, and an economical way to a more robust equipment that we see on live streams today. Listen, my setups are very simple, cost effective. I mean, anybody can do this. I mean, most of my stuff I bought through Facebook Marketplace. The mics that you see that I'm talking to now, speaking into, are the cameras. I've got 2-3 cameras on the go. Logitech cameras. I mean, I get those from Amazon. I got lights. It's a cool little studio. As the pandemic, I'm not going to say as a pandemic, as the pandemic started to, as it came on, live streaming was really in full effect, and I couldn't have guests come over my studio for obvious reasons. As things sort of stabilized in economy and socially, things started to stabilize, I decided to build the podcast platform again, because I had to leave that podcast and do more of a live stream. House music is in my blood. I'm also an open format DJ, so I will play all sorts of genres, and I'll explain more about that as I as my open format style is it's a little bit more broadened, not just playing mainstream top 40 stuff, but more just remixing and mashups and of today's music, that more of a remix style, which is kind of good. So I enjoy doing that. And this time I wanted to broaden my reach and conversations to not just our music community, but also successful entrepreneurs. Talk to them about their journeys and their obstacles. Listen, there's obstacles in everything. And basically, I'm there. I live it every day. Whether I'm building a business, whether I'm involved in it, or whether I'm actually in my business, there's obstacles every day. So you learn to, obviously cope with it, adjust, and make good what we have. Because listen, it's in the end, you just have to just motor through it and say, fuck it, I'm doing it. I got to do it. And that's what I said about this podcast. Is like, I'm just going to do it. Normally I don't talk to myself or talk to you guys by myself. Let me get that right. Talk to myself. Well, listen, we always talk to ourselves, but talking to you guys without a guest, I rarely do. I think I'm going to do this as a season opener. Do a little recap of the previous seasons and the previous guests, and talk about that, and just knowing what's going on in my head, new shit that's happening. We're going to be talking all about that. I mean, I'm not here to bash people. I'm not here to talk shit about or smack about anybody. I just talk about what's going on. I'm upfront. I'm blunt. I'm how it is. This is me. No filter. Don't give a shit. And that's how it is, man. So I'm talking to you guys, and listen, season 2, episode 1, hence the 201 episode number. And I'm super excited, man. This is great. So again, I wanted to broaden my reach of conversations, excuse me, not just to our music community, but also to successful entrepreneurs, talk about their journeys and their obstacles. That's where I created the Noisy Chair podcast, for that purpose of speaking freely and openly. Yes, it can get noisy, but ideally we're very respectful in our conversations. Sometimes, something's going to sneak out of your mouth and whatever it's going to say, but the joys of editing. But listen, we are straight up. My podcast is loving the music community. I love DJs. I love upcoming new DJs. And again, like, we got a great lineup coming up this season, and some great guests. And I'll let you in on a few of them that's happening this season. And so it's good. I mean, listen. So for season 1, I had an awesome time. Just talking to guests, opening up, spoke freely about their music business, other businesses, life in general, and everything in between. We talked about, that's what it's all about, is just talking to them. I may not be a Joe Rogan, but fuck, his podcasts are great. And believe it or not, his podcasts do inspire me to continue to build my foundation of guests. Questions, just format, the flow. It is tough, talking to people and just like rhyming off questions and rhyming off topics and continue that conversation, and not just make it like a boring interview. You know what I mean? It's more of just like about just talking 101 and saying, hey, listen, I love how this direction of your business went. How did it affect your music? So things like that. I'd love to find out. I'm a sponge. I love to find out businesses. I love to find out what they're doing in their business and what makes their music and their journey so successful. That's what I love. In season 1, I had incredible guests. DJG from the UK, a good friend of mine, a huge a huge DJ, soulful house, gospel house in the UK. Him and I he was on my podcast, and it was fantastic listening to him, how, he became, a teacher in learning how to DJ, teaching kids with special needs. And it was fucking amazing, inspiring. It was emotional. It's great. I love that. I would have never thought that could ever been, something that people would have the patience for. You know what I'm saying? But that's awesome. G, great job. Also a good friend of mine and a huge mental health advocate, coach, Joey Drex. He's been on my podcast a couple times, a few times maybe. I love having him on because he has great stories about, his business of helping people in their mental health. And that's one big thing that's really good with me, that inspires me when people talk about mental health, is because we share things that are so common, and we find ways to sort of, learn from each other and embrace the fact that, there are things that can be, it can help us. And I'm a huge preacher of the fact that music is a number one thing for me in the aid in mental health. Just to my escape, my go-to, my music soothing, just playing music. Even the podcasts are great. Love to let loose and talk about ideas that I had in my head that I would write down during the day and say, you know what, I'm going to do a podcast about it. So there are things like today that I'm going to talk about that I've just put things in my head that, like, I got to talk about this and say this. It's great. So Chris DeMello, one of my cousins in the U.S., he's an awesome cat, where we talked about autism and his new social group, about parents coping with kids with autistic needs and other needs as well. And he is super calm, super cool. Love his wife, Jessica. They have two beautiful boys, and he is his older son, Gavin. Basically, obviously he's, you may not know, but now that he's autistic. I think Chris would say it a little differently, but this is just simplistic way of me saying, for everyone to understand. He does have the needs that require some major attention from parents and teachers, and he has a group that he's organized, that he's put together, that he talks openly, speaks about it. And he was on my podcast talking about that, and it was really inspiring. I loved hearing about that. Another DJ and producer, Cole Lawton from the UK, awesome cat. Legendary Gene King was in the studio alongside Arcadia, who actually made that painting for me of Prince. My music inspiration would be from Prince, and like his music just inspires me to create remix or put it in the set, how to just loving the vocals, the music, the feel, the funk, what he does to music, and he's inspired a lot of artists in the world, which is great. So from New York, amazing producer, Saliva Commandos, unbelievable. That guy he's one top cat, man. He's got some shit going on that I love hearing. Look for him. Great to see him on my podcast. You can find all my podcasts on my previous shows on YouTube. So just go to youtube.com/DJDave live, and you can see the playlist of all my my podcasts, which is great. So I love it. It's awesome. And Hubert K from the Control Room, he also is an interesting cat. Loved his knowledge of just the 80s synth music and where he came from and his journey bringing it back, and his love for music here. and what he does to help out other DJs in the community, which is great because he has got this, awesome little studio that he does. He rents out. People can have small events in there. They can do live streaming. They can do whatever they want to do. So I give, big shout out to Hubert for, just supplying a base platform for DJs who want to be out there and live stream if they can't do it at home or in a studio. Okay, it's great. Low cost too, man. This guy's awesome. From Montreal, turntablist Killajoule. She was fantastic. Crazy ass turntablist. She has amazing skills on the turntables, with a lot of hip hop and urban stuff. So it's great, and she's a fantastic person to talk to on the podcast. Really enjoyed it. Good friend of mine who's actually one of my neighbors, really just like 3 minutes down the road, DJ Just Boge. So he's a good cat. He's been around the block in the DJ scene, and he's coming back up and doing a lot of small events and big events and lounge events, and goes to restaurants and does little sessions there, which is great. Ashley Bean from Illinois. She's one tough cat, man. She knows how to. She's feisty, man. She's good. She has her own band. It's herself actually, but it's an interesting concept in how she puts together her band. She doesn't have a band that she uses, full time. She actually will. It's just her, and if she needs to have a band and go on tour, she will put together a band local, and they will practice and sync each other up, and then go out and hammer it. So that's pretty interesting. But just her whole story. Check out my podcast with her. She has a great story about and it's a sad story about her being bullied in every way possible, and even to this day, how bullying in music industry really happens still, and it's great how she's adjusted herself to it, and cool cat to talk to as well. DJ Chico U. He's a hoot, man. I tell you, I had him in the studio just talking, and he had a great story about his from when he first started to now, and then it's so interesting. That's the whole point about this podcast is sharing their journey with me about music, business, and life, and everything in between it. That's all it's about. So again, it can get noisy, got funny. We were drinking vodka sodas, and it was fantastic. Enza Roshillo, feisty, powerful woman entrepreneur. She has a fantastic cafe down in the Danforth, T&M Sidewalk Cafe, and it's great. She knows about business. She knows about marketing, how to build events and structure festivals and all sorts of things. Great to talk to. She's been in my podcast before, and we talked about the music side of things. And in this podcast with her, she was promoting this great event, the Block Party on the Queensway, which was successful by the looks of it online and social media. So she wanted to talk about more about that. But I'm going to get her back on the show and talk about the DJs and producers that she's known for years, and big name cats that are out there, So I'm going to get her back on there. She's awesome. Great business person, super smart. Cora Reed, another fierce woman entrepreneur. She has her own little radio station. And she was on my podcast as on the last episode, and and my co-host was Jackman Jones. Big up to Jackman. Thanks for stopping the studio and being the co-host of the show. We spoke to her about her life from the beginning. The single mom, the drugs, the having her family together, and then all of a sudden having it torn apart and starting that all back up again. she turned to religion, she turned to God about this, and music was one thing that she kept going with it, and that she still does today, and she's built this business of the radio station, and super knowledgeable on that. And we'll talk to her more about it coming up and do some more follow-up stuff. So it was great talking with them and sharing their journey, their ventures with me and to you. I mean, it's super. I'm super honored to talk about things that I would never even known about them, until you ask. Listen, if they don't want to say it, fuck it. They don't got to say anything. Nothing. They'll say, I don't want to talk about it. But that's okay. And we're all good with that, right? So no problem at all. I am having a nice glass of wine today. My go-to wine that I like to have that's just casual drinking. It is a Chianti. It's Gabbiano. Very nice. I mean, get it on the LCBO. Nice red wine for casual or for just having a light dinner. And I love it. So this is with some of the things that I'll talk about more in my podcast coming up in the future. Whether we have some nice wines or some good booze that people send over just to be in the podcast, which is great. So, so that's so I would like to cheers to you all for being here with me tonight and just enjoying, just me just talking and filling in on what's going on out there. And if you get a chance to watch some of my older episodes where it was House on Cork podcast, again, thanks to Jim Ben for coming up with that name. They're all on the YouTube site. And I'll have the links posted up after the podcast. So I would love it if you guys would subscribe and support and enjoy them. You can watch them anytime you want. So with me, podcasts, you listen to them once, maybe twice if you missed a couple things on there that was interesting. I understand podcasts you listen to only once, which is great. But I would love if you could just listen to what my platform is all about. You're going to see some great people come through here, and I usually post them on a Saturday afternoon at 2:00, new episodes. So, and you'll see it on social media. Follow me on the Noisy Chair podcast on social media, which is on Facebook. You'll find all the information on there as well. And a bunch of new platforms that I've connected with that we're going to be multi-streaming this on 6 channels, which is fucking awesome. And I'll talk about more of that afterwards. So I would love it if you could subscribe and support and enjoy them. It's just, that's the way I'm all about spreading the love, but it's all good, right? Listen, is it me, or did summer just fucking scoot by here in a whiz? It just was so fast. Already we're in fucking September. Already in September. It's happened like this, there were so many summer ideas that involved house music and involving our amazing DJs that I wanted to put together. But I guess I'll have to wait till next season on that part. Wait till further the podcast. I'll be talking about a huge 2023 plan for house music and DJs, and maybe something for this year, which would be kind of cool. So, I missed some key events that I really wanted to attend. It's tough, when you want to support everybody in line that supports you. You try to make it out to their events downtown, uptown, so wherever it may be. You try to make it out there, and sometimes you just can't. And you want to. I feel bad because I want to be out there and supporting all the DJs that supported me in this industry, and so I'll always give them. I'll always either buy a ticket or come out there, but being the responsibilities of having stuff at home to do and family and work and DJing is kind of tough. So I give big props to the DJs and events that are killing it out there, and I'm sorry that I missed some of those events. I really wanted to attend. Life is amazing, but sometimes it just steps in where we can't do it. So, big shout out to Chasm from Chicago, Househead Speaks, and DJ Lido came in over the Labor Day weekend. They stayed a little bit longer this time, I think. And they played in a few events, and that's what I wanted to support them and have them on my show on a podcast. But, sometimes the wedding anniversary just gets in the way in a good way. So 29 years. So I had to sort of lean towards the right thing to do. And it was an anniversary weekend. So boys, I apologize from Chicago. Next time you guys are in, or if you come in not on Labor Day weekend, maybe even a little sooner than that, then we'll make a night out of it. So, and you know that, and we talked about that before when we were thinking about doing something. But so I'm glad they came down. They represented. They came down and did some great music and played in some great spots on Toronto, which was fantastic. You'll find them online as well. Super happy to see a lot of DJs getting booked and people supporting them. Whatever it's bars, lounges. I know that they're all opening up soon. They're it's just great to see them come back and also DJs, sharing the love and whether it's like once a month or every other weekend or every 2 months. It is great to see that they are they're out there and people are booking them. There's a bunch of people that are in the promoting business that I'll give a shout out to. Paul Alfano. Big shout out to Paul. I mean, he's really passionate about his business of putting on some events, and I give him props on that. That he works hard at it. His team, Melanie and Sean Grant, they are great cats. So I'm glad that he's out there really, he's hustling. He's doing the right thing. He's getting the right gigs going, which I like. So big up to him on him and his team. I like it. Places that are coming up, they're just a lot of places, a lot of lounges are opening up. A lot of bars and a lot of clubs are opening up. And they're starting off small, which is good, which I like. So, I remember a couple years back, I was talking to a good friend of mine and DJ, G Money, every Sunday night, he blasts, he does his little Twitch night sessions on a Sunday. Man, I love when he gets into the shots. It's great. I love his music. I love him and his brother, fucking top-notch guys, I tell you. They will be on my show. So, but that's another sneak peek. I'll talk more about that. Anyways, when he was on my podcast and we were talking one night and we were saying that the music scene needs to come back with a vengeance and spread the love for music, and post pandemic we were seeing a spike for sure in the music industry, in DJs and entertainment centers. And they're getting the love they deserve. They're getting the recognition of DJs that are out there, promotions, social media. Like there's a lot of love that is coming out there that I'm seeing and we're all seeing. And I call them hustlers. Listen, we're all hustlers in a certain way. Some are good at getting gigs, hustling, getting gigs. Others are content with a few. We're just hustlers in our own way. We work. We want it. We're passionate. I find that the DJs now are super passionate on and grateful and eager to go and play for people, to curate the music, to play for people and show them that, hey man, house music. It doesn't matter what music it may be. Majority's been house music in our community, but open format, whether it's urban, whether it's hip hop, R&B, there's so much love out there that people want to hear, and I'm glad it's coming out there. I'm glad it's really going strong, but the fucking summer's gone by so fast. It's crazy. And I don't understand. It's like we all talk about what we wanted to do and plan out, but it just gets crazy. And our day jobs get in, not in the way, in a good way. We have we got priorities to set. I get that. Most of us at our age, have day jobs that keep the food on the table, roof over our heads, and for our families, right? So it's just the nature of the beast that happens. People ask, what do you do for a living? I don't know about you, but do you find it rude if someone asks you that question? What do you do for a living? Me, I really don't care. But I know it offends some people. It offends people saying, why do you want to know what I want to do for a living? So it's a touchy subject, which I really don't care. But I'm okay if people ask me what I do, Listen, I run a high-end automotive repair shop in Vaughan. It's called Engineered Automotive. Love the job. I manage the entire shop. I manage people. We work on Ferraris, Porsche, BMWs, Mercedes. And what really, really love seeing is the spike in classic cars. Gene King, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm seeing a spike in, I would say probably, I've seen a huge jump. Like old classic cars, 60s, 70s, especially those years. And we're seeing a lot of those guys that were the baby boomers back then that obviously couldn't afford it back then, now could afford it. And they're like, okay, I'm going to buy this car and put a little bit of money into it. You don't have to spend a lot of money for these cars. They're not. If you want something crazy, yes, they can be expensive. But honestly, I'm a classic car lover. I love it. What's your favorite car? Tell me. Write it up on the chat away in the box there. See what you like. I'll tell you, mine's a '69 Camaro. Love the car, and I love all cars. Okay, cars to me, it's like music. Cars are genres, and being around them every day, you get to feel each one, and you get to see and feel how they roll. Just like music, music. I love all genres. There's a couple that I may not like, and just like cars, I may not like. But honestly, I consider the music genres similar to car genres. I'm all for that. Love them all. If you want to check out all the cool cars I have in my shop, by all means, hit up the website. I'm putting a plug in. Hit up the website, www.ea.works, WORKS. Click on that. You'll see my shop. You'll see cars inside. You'll see all the cars we worked on. Pictures of events that we did. And just like, for example, Cars and Coffee, Jackman Jones knows what it's all about. Thousands of people show up at these Cars and Coffees events at my place. And it's ridiculous. It's a gong show in a great way. It's only in the morning from 8 to 11. Had to see it go because of the city imposing permits, costly permits, rentals of police officers and all the rest of the stuff. So they made it so that I couldn't afford to do it anymore. Long story short, I stopped doing that. But we're going to have more events like that where we combine music with cars. And I'll talk to you more about that after when we talk about some of the things couple items I want to talk about it as well. We're going to mix music and cars together. I wish I had more cars in my stable, but the cost of these puppies can be crazy. So I haven't really thought about, I haven't thought about it. If I wanted to, eventually restore one or spend the money on them, we just fuck. There's just so many things that I want to do, and I had to find the time and of course the money to do them. Again, when you have a family, when you've got family and work, family's first. So toys are the back burners when it comes to that, right? But speaking of toys, being a DJ and a podcaster, you always find new products that would accent your playing time in the studio or live streaming, etc. I won't get into much of that. I mean, I won't get into much of that, but we will never reveal how much we spend on our toys to our significant other. I'll tell you right now. And I'm sure there's people out there, guys out there, girls out there that say, yep, you're absolutely right. If they ever found out what I fucking spend on this stuff, it is crazy. Let's see, what's new? What's going on? In the music world, some cool events are starting to surface in the city. I always like to promote and basically just give back to the music community. I love everybody out there that is passionate about what they do, and that's what intrigues me to bring them into my podcast. So, my good friend Arcadia, she's been doing well putting together some cool shows with Gene King. Saturday, September 10th, you can catch Gene King and Paul Revere spinning at the Piston, 927 Bloor Street West. Make your way down there if you'd like. Again, same night, September 10th, at the Revival Bar, 2 floors of musical anthems with DJ Started From Scratch, DJ Yogi, Paul Lopez, Jason Palma, and DJ Grouch. So if you're in or out in the city and you want to check them all out, Saturday, tonight, September 10th, make your way down there. Give some support, give some love. It's always great. If you're in the Mississauga area on the 24th, and I'm going to put a plug in for me, I'm hosting and spinning 80s, 90s remixes, house, freestyle, Latin music, and more at the Drake and Firkin, located 6982 Financial Drive. Come by and say hi, grab a drink, and dance with me. I'll be DJing there from 9 till whenever it closes. The parties are super mature, great crowd. Ton of people come through there and dance and just have a great time. It's like it's a local bar that it's in my neighborhood, and we basically want people that are you want to do a date night, birthdays, couples, whatever it may be, but like leave your kids at home, babysitters, whatever, and just enjoy a night out. I do this maybe once every 3 months, and I don't make it repetitive so that I don't want it to fizzle away, right? I just want to have a good time, so people look forward to it. We'll get messages, hey man, when's your party coming up? Every 3 months, boom, I'll put it out there. So I hope you guys can make it September 24th. If you're Mississauga, on the same night, in Toronto, which is great, the Wiggle Room, it's an underground thing. G Money, Junior Lopez, Cartel, DJ. They are going to put on a fucking amazing show in the Wiggle Room celebrating DJ's birthday. If you want tickets, hit up my good friend Michelle Diva on Facebook or Instagram. I'll put her name and her handle on there, but or you can hit up G Money, Junior Lopez, Cartel. They'll have hard tickets as well. Co-promoting, I believe, is Paul Alfano, so you can hit him up for that, which is great. Great house music, great music all the way around. You're going to hear tons of talent come through there. So October 1st, the Rocket Reunion. Walk up the narrow stairs, feel the thumping bass, join the crowd while Biggie screams, "It was all a dream." DJ Infamous, Nigel, DJ Carl Allen, and Chico U will be an awesome night of old school. The Rocket Reunion, October 1st, at the Revival Bar. October 1st would be the Rocket Reunion. So don't forget to come down there and check them out, October 1st. October 7th, Todd Terry, legendary Todd Terry's in town to bring the New York City house vibes to Wiggle Room. A great lineup of DJs like Rob the Boom, awesome cat, Tyler Hill, Baroness, Miss Megs, DJ Yogi, Random Doug, DJ Jules, Julesworth, and Tacken. So check them out. October 7th, Todd Terry's in town. Get your tickets. Again, I believe through Paul Alfano, you can go online at the Wiggle Room. So listen, these are great events that I love to see happening out there. And to talk about a couple events that I want to build, might happen this year, might not. But listen, I'm building on some of these events and executing them for one for this year. I think I'm going to do this one for this year and one for next year. So I don't think we've ever seen this before. So picture this. Live streaming an event, live streaming DJs in an automotive crazy showroom around amazing cars. So picture a DJ booth in the middle with all these old school cars around with lights on, pointing at the DJ. You got the music going. You got the cameras going. You got the DJ playing crazy sick music. A bunch of talented DJs that are also car nuts. So we'll be spinning alongside some wicked cars, and I think that'd be amazing. I don't think it's ever been done before. The vibe will be off the wall. More details to follow on this one. So I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to try to make this happen this year. And so look out for that as we plan something. The other event will be a killer one if we can pull this off. Okay, so again, picture this. Okay, this one here, if we can make this happen, it'd be fantastic. It's having a group of Canadian DJs. Yes, Canadian DJs. Well, you never know. We might pick up some throughout North America or through Europe. Put together a small little community, and we'll participate, or we'll try to we all go to Ibiza, and we'll be all booked for certain gigs. Okay? It's a thought process right now that I'm working on and just trying to work out all the logistics behind it and the purpose of it, really, to be honest with you. What is the purpose of this? Well, here's what it is. I was talking to my European agent, and she basically said, listen, in Ibiza, you're getting a ton of big name DJs, which is great. Carl Cox, those big cats out there are really strong. And it's expensive to go there. It's expensive to buy a ticket, drinks. You're going to spend $100 a ticket to get in, minimum. You're going to spend probably $25 to $30 a drink, okay? Your night is super ass expensive. So they basically she said to me, she says, listen, a lot of these clubs are not seeing the capacity like they should be. So they recognize, the DJs in North America. Not that we're cheap, but we are cheaper than the big name DJs. We can put on a fucking show and still get paid pretty good when we're out there. So we're trying to put together a package plan for DJs and for us to go out there, and whether it's 4 days or whether it's a week, we'll be out there, do the gigs, have a great time, support each other, and show what we have to offer for Ibiza, and just fucking enjoy the music. Ibiza is the house music that is known for house parties, house music parties, beach parties, boat parties. Thousands of people travel there every day to see and hear and experience the love of music. So we want to make it fun, fantastic to be there, get paid, play great music, great food, great booze, and come on back. And great weather. But more news to follow on that if it comes through. I think it'll be a fantastic idea, and I hope that you guys could agree with me on that. It'd be great. So, I mean, I don't really, I'd like to come up with more, plans on our the house music festival that me and my team were working on for years before pandemic, and it was literally like we were ready to go. We had everything finalized, sponsored money. We had stadiums to venues, which was going to be at Ontario Place, which was going to be this, that, everything right down to the, garbage collection. Everything was all prepared and ready to go, and then the fucking pandemic hit. And that, unfortunately, put a halt to everything. So, a lot of connections were lost. New connections the connections that are not lost are still with me, which it'll be great. We might be able to do something in the next year or so, or try to do something in a smaller format. So that may still come up if we can't do the Ibiza thing. Either way, 2 amazing projects, maybe 3 amazing projects that are going to be coming up with this year and next year. So super excited, and you'll hear more about it as we go along. A big sore spot with me on talking openly about political views. I don't really like expressing my thoughts openly about that type of shit because, I'm more of a listener, and we'll talk about it with other people. Like I'll talk about it with my guests on just things that are not right in my views and their views. And there'll be guests that I'll have that'll be, quite loud about it. Hence the noisy chair. So you'll see some guests come on board that will talk about it. Guaranteed there'll be a few on here that will be like, this is how it is, or this is what I think it is. So for now, I'll keep those to myself. I'm not worried about it, but let's move on. Super excited for my guest lineup this season. Just to give you guys a sneak peek, okay? Junior Lopez will be on my studio as a guest. Can't wait. Cool cat, and just his music vibe, the Latin music vibe that he brings out just keeps you going, man. It's rock solid. Guy's a true, passionate DJ. DJ and producer Nick Ferrucci, and he's also a CEO of Zip DJ, a music pool for DJs looking to add to their database. Can't wait to have him on my show. He's going to be, he's a busy man. I tell you, he works and he's in the studios, and he, has a family. So I can relate to the craziness that happens. So we're just trying to come up with a date that he's going to be on the show, but he will be. And can't wait to hear about his journey in his business and about his music. So that's what it's about, Obi Wonder, a music promoter, events planner, and a just all-around cool dude. He's got a ton of stories from old hip-hop days to now, to people that he's known and met. That's, it's just a bunch of great stories, and probably a cool cat to talk to. Can't wait for him to be on the show sometime in October-ish. The cartel duo of G-Money and Henry Jaramillo, they will be in the studio, and believe it or not, they're about 5 or 7 minutes away from the studio, so they're not that far. Timing is all about getting these two boys together in my studio, and we will talk about a lot of stuff back in the days. I'm talking about, G, and also Henry. I'm talking about. So we'll get you both in here, and we will sit down and just go through it. People love to know about what happens, how you started, what made you the way you are right now. Whether it's going to Buffalo and buying records and bringing it back up here and taking off for the weekend and buying music equipment. And it's just everyone can relate to these stories, and it's amazing. It's just crazy that we all have a similarity in this, and it's quite interesting. So can't wait. This is just to name a few. It's going to be a wicked season, just like the first. Amazing. And I totally appreciate the support and subscribers You can watch all my episodes and previous ones on YouTube. Also subscribe to the Noisy Chair podcast on Spotify. And obviously there are more platforms. I'm so stoked that we are multi-streaming to 6 channels. Okay. And I'll tell you right now what they are. It's my personal Facebook page, the Noisy Podcast Facebook page, the YouTube channel, Twitter Live channel, now streaming on the Twitch channel, as well as a new streaming site called Trovo. Similar to Twitch, very similar to Twitch. And they don't mute out the music. Hint, hint. I'm going to post all the links up on after the podcast, or maybe during the podcast. Maybe you'll see it down below. Maybe you'll see it at the end. Whatever, but you'll see it. 6 different channels. Can't wait. On your phone, on your tablet, on your computer. Spotify, if you want to hear us, if you want to hear the podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Music, Amazon Music. You can hear us all on there. So it's fantastic. I'm super excited that this has been a great beginning journey, continuation of this journey. And also the fact that, I'm having, I'll also have a co-host, Michelle Diva. She'll be my main co-host for a lot of the episodes that we will work together on, as well as Jackman on certain ones that we will discuss. But Michelle Diva, I appreciate you. You're a great moderator on a lot of Twitch sites. And you're everywhere. You are a giving person that gives to the community, and I respect you huge, as well as you, Jackman, as well. Great music you're bringing out. Love it. So I'm happy to share your links, and you'll see it on our Facebook page as well as community sites. So we try to spread the love of music everywhere. And Michelle, you're great with that. Ty, Jackman, you are awesome with that as well. And DJs that support other DJs and playing their tracks, which is great. So big up to everybody who tuned in, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm not a guy who wants to talk for hours, because I could, but about me, come on, go and keep it for an hour or so. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in tonight, and this is the beginning of a fantastic journey that's going to happen, or continuation, but a beginning of season 2. And I hope you guys can to subscribe to all my platforms, which I'll list at the end of the show, and also on the links in the on my Facebook pages, as well as the Noisy Chair Podcast Facebook site. We'll have all the information there where all the platforms are that you'll be scheduled to see there. And look out for future events. I'm all there for you guys. I appreciate you as DJs, producers, people who are passionate about music, upcoming DJs. We're going to have a great segment on upcoming DJs, young ones that are loving the music, who are super talented. I'm going to get them on my show, so they know who they are. Love you guys. Thank you for tuning in to the Noisy Chair Podcast, Season 2, and we will see you next time, and have a great week, and all the best. Be positive, stay positive, and spread the love of music. See you next time.